Hello friends, in this series of videos in theory of computation, in the last video I have discussed the basic framework of regular part, that is regular expression, finite automata, regular grammar, regular languages, etc. Now in this video I'll directly start with finite automata, specifically with deterministic finite automata. Okay friends, now let's start discussing this deterministic finite automata. Please make a note of this, that there are number of things which are required to be discussed, and it will take a while, at least 2 or 3 videos to make everything crisp clear. So please be a little patient, and within 2 or 3 videos everything will get exactly. Now you understand, if I define mathematically, a DFA requires 5 tuples to be defined, and what are those? It is capital Q, which is nothing but total number of states, Q naught initial state, sigma the input alphabet or a set of input symbols or alphabet, capital F is a set of final state, and delta is the transition function. It seems quite mathematical, so let me discuss everything with the help of an example. I also want to explain why you call this deterministic and finite. What does you mean by this? Because automata means nothing but a machine, but you called it as deterministic finite machine or deterministic finite automata. What I actually mean by it? Okay, let me quote an example. Let me say, okay, let me have an initial state Q naught, and on an initial state, suppose if I have A, let me go to Q1, let me have a self loop, let me make it a final state. On B, suppose I go to a state Q2, and let me again have a self loop of A comma B. Okay, now you understand this thing point by point. First tuple is what? Capital Q. Capital Q stands for total number of states. Total number of states. Now you see, total number of states in this machine is 3 states. The circular pattern represents what? States. So capital Q here contain 3 states. What are those? That is Q naught, Q1 and Q2. Now it is very important tuple capital Q. You understand two things: total number of states, but it is always required to be non-empty. It means what? This set cannot be empty. It must contain at least one state. So any DFA or NFA, whatever finite machine is there, it is not possible without state. You require at least one state. That is very important point. Secondly, this set is required to be finite, and that is also very important. Why? You see, total number of states in the machines are always finite. They cannot be infinite. That is the very basic reason why you called it finite automata. Actually, you understand this thing, why we represent those states, because these states are actually a kind of representation of memory. You remember something by changing states. You understand this thing. Let me quote an example. For example, currently you are on state Q naught, and now that is a machine, a temporary logic. If I ask you, right now you are on a state Q1, can you tell me which was the last symbol you have scanned? Answer is yes, it is certainly what? B. Why? You see, there's only one initial state, which is what? Q naught, and if you want to come from Q naught to what? Q1, the edge or the transition edge contains what? B. It means what? You require a B to come from Q naught to what? Q1. So you understand that is a kind of a system to remember something. As currently or in the starting, always I was on Q naught, and Q naught, as soon as I encounter B, I'll come to what? Q1. So if I'm on state Q1, and if somebody asks you what was the last symbol, I can say certainly it must be what? B. Why? Because there's only method possible to come from Q naught to Q1, and this method contains what? B. So the last symbol was B. So you understand this thing. This finite automata, why we called it finite? Because it do not have any additional memory, no auxiliary support like stack or linked list or whatever it is. You don't have any other memory. Then how you remember things? You remember certain logics by changing state, and that is a beautiful concept. So here I want to remember that B has already occurred, so I change state from Q naught to Q1, and it will help in a number of ways. So why you called it finite? Because you remember something by changing states, and the number of states in this machine is always finite. You cannot have a automata with infinite state. That is what it is called finite automata. So again, let me conclude the point. First tuple capital Q stands for total number of states. It must always be non-empty, that is you must have at least one state. And second point, understand that it must always be finite set, so you cannot have an infinite set, and that is the reason you called it finite automata, because here you remember something by changing state. So states are nothing but a kind of representation of memory, and because total number of states are finite, that is what the total memory is also what? Finite. Okay. Now next thing is what? Initial state Q naught. Now Q naught is a tuple, and more or less we always name the initial state as Q naught, but that is not compulsory. Q naught is just a symbolic representation of initial state. So even if you want to name this state, for example, let me say capital A, that is also cool, no problem in that. Now you understand some points. What? Initial state in any finite automata, specifically right now I'm discussing in DFA, even though it is NFA, it is always 1. So every finite automata have always one initial state. It can never be 0, it can never be 2. So na 0 ho sakte. You cannot have a machine or a finite deterministic finite automata without an initial state, and you can also do not have a finite automata or a DFA with more than one initial state, that is 2 or 3 or 4 initial state. So initial state will always be 1. How you are going to identify which state is initial? There will be an incoming edge without any symbol written on it. So if you have representation something that kind of this, you understand that it is the initial state. So conclusion, Q naught stands for initial state. Name could be anything, but its tuple is represented by Q naught most of the time. Second point, it is always 1. So every deterministic finite automata will have one initial state. It can never be 0, it can never be more than 1, that is 2, 3 or 4. Okay. Now next is what? Sigma. Sigma we already familiar with. It is nothing but a set of symbols or input alphabet on which machine will work. So here there are only two symbols, which is what? A and B, and as already discussed, again this symbol is also non-empty and finite. So you require at least one symbol. You see, these small points are very important, because of in competitive exams they'll ask very small basic questions if they're going to theoretical ways. So this sigma, you understand, again a set of symbols or input alphabet is always non-empty but finite. So you require at least one symbol, that is important. Secondly, this set cannot be infinite. The total number of symbols on which machine respond will always be finite. Okay. Now next is what? Final state. Now I'm sorry, that is what capital F stands for, set of final states. Now that is very important tuple, and most of the students are confused about it, that what is final state. You understand this thing, it is not a final state but a set of final state, which means what? Can there or is there any DFA possible which can have more than one final state? Answer is yes. Even it is also valid to have a DFA which do not have a final state. Please understand this thing, because I'm not saying capital F is a final state, I'm saying capital F is a set of final state, and if it is a set, now it can be empty or it can have more than one state. So you understand this thing, it is also possible that I make this state also as what? Non-final. How you identify which state is final? There will be two circles, and in the simple set there will only be one circle. So now this is a DFA which do not have any final state. Again, is this DFA valid? Certainly yes, no problem in that. What this DFA accepts? Nothing, means what? Empty language. If a DFA do not accepts anything and we say it accepts what? Empty language, but that is totally okay. So don't get confused, but yes, that is a valid DFA which do not contain any final state. Second, can I also say this? Yes, now that is also valid DFA. So even the worst scenario is what? The total states of the DFA also may be what? Final state. So what this DFA is accepting? Universal language, sigma star. Why? You see, any string you take over A comma B, it will accept everything. Yes or no? Yes. So you understand that F stands certainly for what? A set of final state which could be either what? 0, and sometimes it could be what? The total number of states. So in this particular case which we were taking right now, only Q1 is the final state, but if you ask me the range, then you can say the total number of final state or the cardinality of this set may go from 0 up till total number of states in the machine, and that is very important. So capital F is a set of final state, point number 1. Point number 2, what is the range of total final states? Sometimes it could be 0, a machine which accepts nothing, and sometime every state of the machine could be final, means what, it accepts universal language. Okay, now what is the last thing? It is what delta stands for, transition function. Now what is transition function? Transition function mapping is defined that on a state Q, taking as input symbol sigma, you make a transition to some other state Q. Now how do you understand it? Now you understand this thing. It actually tells you how a machine works. So on a state Q, for example, here on a state capital A, if I take input symbol sigma, which is certainly, for example, here is A. So on capital A, if I take A, I go to what? On a state Q1. To some other state Q, which is in this particular case is what? Q1. So this is called transition function. So transition function helps you, in which fashion the machine progress, that is on which state, if you accept which symbol, on which state you will go. So this all logic is defined by transition function. Okay, so now you understand again. DFA is defined by 5 tuples. It will take some time, but you will get every idea very clearly. So a DFA defined by 5 tuples. First, capital Q, set of total number of states. Second, Q naught, initial state, always remember, always 1. Then input symbol, set of input symbols, alphabet, it. Capital F is nothing but a set of final states. Sometime could be 0, sometime every state could be final. And the last one is a transition function, which will tell you how this machine progress. Now second important thing, now you understand, we say that it is deterministic. Now what do we actually mean by that machine is deterministic? You see, being deterministic has two implications, very important to understand it. What is the first implication? Being deterministic means what? We say whether your future behavior is predictable or not. So there in computer science we divide machines into 2 types. One are called deterministic machines, one are called non-deterministic machines. For example, let me tell you, for example, there's a fan. You switch on the fan. Can you for example, currently the fan is in the off state and you switch on the fan. Can you tell me what will be the next state? Of course it will be in the running state. Fan do not have option. For example, if everything is okay, electricity is there, you have a lift. Lift is currently on ground floor, you push a button, for example, go to floor number 4. You tell me what will be the next set of the lift? Of course the floor number 4. Can lift go to 24 or 32, or lift say today I am not in the mood, I'll not go? Certainly no. So these all machines are deterministic. What does it mean? If I know the present state and if I give a command, then I should predict the future state of the machine. अगर आप present जानते हैं machine का कि machine अभी क्या कर रहा है, and if you give a command, then you must tell me that what will be the next state. If you can do so, then the machine is what? Deterministic. Actually, what do we understand, or what do we actually mean by deterministic here? Can you predict the future behavior of the machine or not? For example, let me quote here, or for example, this is also a case of deterministic machine. If I say currently you are on a state capital A and I give you small a, can you tell me what will be the next state? Certainly it will be Q1. You see, machine do not have any other option. On a state capital A, taking an input symbol A, you have to go to what? State Q1, no other option. But if I ask you like this, now let me draw one other DFA or one other finite automata like this. Now on a state capital A, on small a, you have 2 transitions. One time you go to B and one time you go to what? C. Now if I ask you, currently you are on a state A and taking an input symbol A, can you tell me what will be the next state? Answer is no. Why? Because sometime, or it could be B or it could be what? C. Or even if you say me what will be the future behavior, you cannot tell me exactly, because you'll get confused. Either it is B or it is C. Now this machine is non-deterministic. Why? On the present state, taking an input command, right now I am on A, input command is small a, but even though I cannot tell deterministically, that which will be the next state. It could be either B or what, C. So again you understand this thing. Are humans deterministic machines or non-deterministic machines? You understand this thing. For example, like if your parent understand that currently you haven't studied for the subject, or your teacher says, for example, let me say you that okay, currently you don't know a topic, you go and study. Can I tell that tomorrow or day after tomorrow you will study the logic? Answer is no, because even after understanding your present state, even after giving a command to you, I cannot say whether you will study or not, because certainly you will decide whether you will study or not. So if you give command and then even though you cannot predict the future behavior, the machine goes into a word of what? Non-deterministic. Most of the machines, or let me tell you, I'm not going into that field because that will take us to complexity theory. Every machine which we use, either hardware or software, is a deterministic engine or a deterministic machine. If we know the present state and if we give the command, we can always tell then what will be the next state. But here we'll also discuss what non-deterministic machines. I'll discuss the reason later. Actually, non-deterministic machines are easier to design compared to deterministic machine only theoretically, but their practical implementation is not possible, and neither we want to implement them. I'll discuss them later. So the only reason we study non-determinism is because they're easy to design theoretically, and then they can be converted into what? Deterministic machines, specifically in case of finite automata. So conclusion of the story, why or when can you say that a machine is deterministic? On any state, if you give a symbol, let me in the position to decide what is the future state, what is the next state. So how can I always guarantee that the machine will be deterministic? You see, on every state, for every input symbol, you can have at most one transition. For example, now here on a state capital A, on small a, you go to what? Q1. Now I cannot allow any other transition for the same symbol small a. So you see, on small a I go here and no other transition for small a, and now you see, for example, on capital A, if I get B, I go to what? Q2, no other move for small b. So again, understand this point. When can you say a machine is deterministic or a finite automata is deterministic? On any state, on any input symbol, we can have at most one transition. You cannot have more than one transition. So if on capital A, on small a, you go to Q1, now on capital A and on small a, you cannot go to Q2, because that will make the logic non-deterministic. One more important point you understand, that being deterministic has one more implication. For example, let me remove this state for a while. Now you understand, on capital A I'll get small a, I go to what? Q1, and then I loop on what? A comma B. Can you tell me right now this machine is deterministic or non-deterministic? You see, capital A, on A only one move is there. Now on Q1, on A and B, only one move is there. You see, don't count them as two different moves, because Q1 on A is different, Q1 on B is different. I'm not saying that on a state Q1 on A we have two moves. These are moves but on different logics, one on A and one on what? B. So that is non-deterministic. That is not, you know, a kind of a non-determinism. It is still deterministic. But let me tell you, on a state capital A, if you give me small a, I'll go to what? Q1. But on a state capital A, as we have discussed, there are two symbols in the sigma, capital A, small a and small b. On a state A, if I get B, what will happen? You see, the machine is not responding, and that is a problem. Now you understand, this machine is what? Incomplete. So we say, if we want a machine to be deterministic, now that is a second implication, which says what? Machine must always be complete in nature. And what do I actually mean by it? I say, on every state, for every symbol, the machine must respond irrespective of the fact the string is going to be accepted or rejected. You understand this thing? On every state, for every symbol, you must respond. Already we have a restriction that on any state, for every symbol, we could have at most one transition. We cannot have more than one transition. But the second restriction right now I'm saying is what? On every state, for every symbol, you must have a transition. For example, right now, On capital A and on small b, right now there is no transition. Now that is not allowed if a machine is deterministic. So if a machine is a deterministic finite automata, I'll say that you must respond irrespective of the fact whether this thing is accepted or rejected. So let me say, now if again I write like this B, now I can say that is a deterministic finite automata. Why? You see there are three states. On every state, and there are two symbols, on every state for every two symbols the machine is responding. Now I can be very sure and guarantee you that that is a deterministic finite automata. So I think I have discussed when you can say a machine is deterministic. Again understand, or the conclusion of the two arguments is that on every state for every input symbol there must be exactly one transition, because if there will be more than one transition, that is also not allowed, because that will make the machine non-deterministic. But if there's a less than one transition, that a certain state do not respond on some alphabet, it will make the machine incomplete. We'll understand later that if a machine is incomplete, now you cannot complement the machine, and there are some other drawbacks are there. So it is very very beneficial to make a system complete. So deterministic machine always complete. It must respond on input symbol and only one transition for every input symbol. So I hope and that was a basic discussion about deterministic finite automata, and that was a basically state diagram explanation which I have given using 5 tuples. One more thing you understand, that I can also represent this same state diagram with the help of a transition table. So it is just how you represent it. How? For column you take for input symbols, so there are only 2 input symbols, small a and small b, and there are 3 states which are those that is A, Q1 and Q2, and as I told you, this edge will help us to understand that it is an initial state and Q1 is a final state. Then how I should write fill this table? On a state capital A, taking input symbol A, where I'm going on capital A, on small a, I'm going to what? Q1. So let me write Q1. On capital A, on B, I'm going to what? Q2. That's good. Now Q1 on A, there's a self loop, so I come back to Q1 both on A and B, and similarly on Q2 again I'll come back on Q2. So this is called the transition table. This is transition table, this is a state diagram, both means same logic. If they give transition table, you must be in the position to draw the state diagram. If they give state diagram, you must be in the position to give back transition table. One more thing you understand, that I have directly discussed DFA with the help of tuples. You can also understand the block diagram. Okay, one more thing you understand, the block diagram of finite automata. So you see here I have taken a tape which is divided into cells, and each cell is capable of holding one symbol at a time, and that is a read header. So what we do, we read one symbol at a time, and as we have discussed, the finite control unit, all the machine or the state parts is there only. So after reading one symbol at a time, this header makes one movement to the right, and the machine, based on that input logics, respond on the logic. And now you understand that when can we say a string is accepted by a deterministic finite automata. So you understand, we keep reading those symbols, and when we reach the end, when we don't have a symbol, then for sure the machine will halt. At the halting state, we see whether the machine halt on final state or not. So if the machine halts on final state, then the string is said to be accepted, otherwise what? Rejected. For example, again the question which we were discussing, like on a state Q0, let me say on A, I'll change the state and go to Q1, which was of final nature, and on B, let me go to Q2, which keeps looping. So now you understand. If I ask you, there are 2 strings AB and BA. For example, again, now let me start from initial state Q0 always. Now you see on a state Q0, if I take A, I'll go to what? Q1. On Q1, if I take B, I'll loop and halt on Q1. Now Q1 is final or non-final? Q1 is final. So this string AB is set to be accepted. After starting from the initial state and parsing the string W, in the last, if machine halts on the final state, then that string is said to be accepted, otherwise rejected. For example, here you see on a state Q0, taking B, I'll go to what? Q2. Now on Q2, taking A, I'll keep looping on Q2, and the final state will be what? Q2. So that is a halting state which is final or non-final? Non-final. So the string is said to be rejected. So that is how you understood that whether a string is said to be accepted or rejected by a finite, deterministic finite automata. So I hope in this video I have discussed some of the basic logics and try to discuss every small logics in the same video. So first we have discussed what are the 5 tuples which are mathematically required to define a deterministic finite automata. We understood why we called this finite, because total number of states are finite. We understood why we called it deterministic, because on every symbol you must take exactly one movement, neither more than one nor less than one. Why we do so? What are the implication of all this? That we will understand slowly. I have also explained that DFA can be explained either with the help of a state diagram or a transition table. We also understood the block diagram and understood how or when we can say string is accepted or rejected. So I hope you understand the basic logics. Now please with me for next 2 and 3 videos. So I'll discuss some other important small details, that what is productive state, non-productive state, why it is required that system is to be complete, what is dead states, all those logics, after which we'll purely concentrate on designing part, which will again help you to understanding whether a language is regular or not. Thank you.